All right, ready to dive into another deep dive.
Let's do it. Always ready to explore new career paths.
Today we're tackling financial auditor interview prep. We got some great interview questions and career tips from RoleCatcher to help you nail that interview.
I'm excited to break these down. This is a field where attention to detail and a passion for accuracy are absolutely crucial.
So let's start with the basics. For our listeners who might be new to this, paint a picture of what a financial auditor actually does on a daily basis.
Well, imagine yourself as kind of a financial detective.
Ooh, I like that. A financial detective.
You're poring over records, looking for any inconsistencies or errors, making sure everything aligns with all those laws and regulations.
And those regulations are always changing, right? Keeping up with them must be a challenge.
Absolutely. It's a constant learning process. And that's actually something interviewers often ask about, how you stay updated on the latest changes.
That makes sense. They want to see if you're committed to continuous learning. And speaking of interview questions, I know we have a bunch from RoleCatcher's database ready to tackle the first one.
Hit me with it. Let's see what we've got.
All right, here it is. Can you explain your understanding of financial auditing?
Okay, a classic opener. It seems pretty straightforward, but there's definitely more to it than just giving a textbook definition.
Right, they're not just testing your knowledge, they're trying to gauge your passion for the field.
Exactly. They want to see that spark in your eye when you talk about ensuring financial accuracy, preventing fraud, and upholding those regulations.
So how do you convey that passion without sounding like you're reciting a memorized speech?
Well, one great way is to weave in a real-world example, something that demonstrates your understanding of the impact of financial auditing.
So maybe talk about a specific case where accurate financial reporting was crucial, or how an audit helped a company improve its financial health.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to mention different types of audits, internal, external, forensic, to showcase your breadth of knowledge.
That makes sense. And this is actually where I think RoleCatcher's AI can be really helpful. It can analyze job descriptions and suggest how to tailor your answers to hit those specific keywords and skills they're looking for.
It's true, that kind of tailored approach can make a big difference. Okay, ready for the next challenge?
Bring it on. I'm feeling warmed up now.
All right, here's one that delves into your background. What experience do you have in financial auditing?
The classic experience question. It can feel a bit daunting if you haven't been in the field for that long.
Don't let it intimidate you. It's all about showcasing those experiences that directly relate to financial auditing, even if they come from internships or academic projects.
So instead of just listing every job I've ever had, I should focus on the tasks, the industries I've worked with, anything that demonstrates my value in an auditing context.
Precisely. And whenever possible, quantify your accomplishments. Don't just say, I helped with audits. Say, I independently conducted 10 audits within a year, identifying X number of discrepancies. Really paint a picture.
That's a great tip. And again, I think RoleCatcher's AI feedback could be really useful here. You could input your experience and the job description, and it'll help you tailor your response to impress the hiring manager.
It's all about making those connections between your skills and their needs.
Okay, I'm starting to feel a bit more confident. What's the next question we're tackling?
All right, this one focuses on professional development. How do you ensure that you stay up to date with changes in financial auditing standards?
This is a good one. The financial world is constantly changing, so staying current is crucial. What are they really trying to assess here?
They want to see your commitment to professional growth. Are you actively seeking new knowledge? Are you keeping those skills sharp?
So just saying I read the news isn't going to cut it.
Probably not. Think about professional organizations you belong to, publications you read, courses or webinars you've taken. Be specific.
So mentioning things like AICPA membership or attending industry conferences shows I'm actively engaged with the profession.
Exactly. And bonus points if you can mention a recent change in auditing standards and how you've adapted to it.
It's about showcasing my proactive approach to learning. All right, hit me with another one.
Okay, get ready for a storytelling opportunity. Can you describe a time when you identified a significant issue during a financial audit?
Ooh, I love a good story. And I bet this is a chance to show off those problem-solving skills.
You got it. The interviewer wants to see your analytical abilities, attention to detail, and how you handle challenges.
So it's not just about finding the issue. It's about what I did to resolve it. What's the key to choosing the right story for this one?
Well, think about a time when you played a key role in identifying a significant issue that could have had a real impact. Maybe an error that could have led to misstated earnings or something like that.
That sounds pretty impactful. And how should I structure my story to make sure it's clear and concise?
The STAR method is always a good approach. Situation, task, action, result. Keeps you focused and highlights your key contributions.
And I bet RoleCatcher's AI feedback could be helpful here too, right? Make sure the story hits all the right notes.
Absolutely. Okay, ready for another one?
Bring it on. Let's see what else we've got.
All right, this one focuses on compliance. How do you ensure that your financial audits are conducted in compliance with relevant laws and regulations?
Compliance is key. As a financial auditor, you're essentially the guardian of those complex rules, right?
That's right. They're assessing your knowledge of the regulatory landscape and your commitment to ethical practices.
So how can I really knock their socks off with my answer?
Don't just name drop regulations, explain how you practically apply them in your work. Highlight your familiarity with key regulations like GAAP, IFRS, or SOX, depending on the industry.
So, for example, I could talk about how I use checklists and internal control frameworks to ensure everything's aligned with the standards.
Exactly. And if you've used any audit software that incorporates compliance checks or pursued professional development related to regulations, mention that too.
It's all about showing them I'm not just aware of the rules, but actively integrating them into my work.
You got it.
Yeah.
Are you ready for another story?
I'm starting to feel like a professional storyteller. Bring it on.
Here's the question. Can you describe a time when you had to deliver difficult feedback to a client during a financial audit?
Ooh, this one sounds a bit tricky. Delivering difficult feedback is never easy, especially when you're dealing with a client.
It's a test of your communication skills and your diplomacy. They want to see if you can be assertive while maintaining professionalism.
So what's the secret to choosing the right story for this question?
Think about a time when you had to deliver feedback that was challenging but ultimately beneficial. Maybe you uncovered an error that needed correcting, something that could have had serious implications for the client.
Like a situation where I had to explain that their revenue recognition practices weren't in line with GAAP standards.
Exactly. Now, focus on how you approach the conversation. Did you show empathy? Did you articulate the issue clearly and offer solutions?
And most importantly, did the client appreciate my feedback and take steps to improve?
It's all about turning a potentially negative situation into a positive learning experience for everyone involved.
All right, bring on the next question.
Okay, shifting gears to teamwork. Can you describe a time when you had to work with a team to complete a financial audit?
The teamwork question. It's all about showcasing my collaborative spirit and ability to contribute effectively.
Financial audits are rarely a solo endeavor. They want to know if you can work well with others, communicate effectively, and contribute to shared goals.
What's a good strategy for choosing a story that highlights my teamwork skills?
Pick an example where you played a significant role on a team that successfully tackled a complex audit. Maybe you had to coordinate tasks, share information, or overcome some challenges together.
Like a situation where we were auditing a company with multiple subsidiaries, and I had to lead the team responsible for one of them.
Perfect example. Now, as you tell your story, highlight your specific contributions to the team's success. Did you take initiative? Did you help resolve conflicts?
And of course, mention the positive outcome. Did we complete the audit on time and within budget?
It's all about showing how your collaborative efforts contributed to a successful outcome.
I think RoleCatcher's AI could be really helpful here too, right? It can help tailor my response to emphasize the specific teamwork skills they're looking for.
You got it. Okay, ready for another challenge?
Absolutely. Hit me with it.
All right, this one focuses on those recommendations again. Can you describe a time when you had to provide recommendations for improvement during a financial audit?
This is my chance to shine as a proactive thinker. Someone who's not just checking boxes, but actually trying to help clients improve their financial practices.
The interviewer wants to see that you can go beyond identifying problems and actually offer actionable solutions.
So what's the secret to choosing a compelling story for this one?
Think about a time when you went above and beyond. Maybe you spotted a weakness in the client's internal controls or a process that was inefficient.
For instance, maybe I noticed the client wasn't adequately segregating duties, which could increase their risk of fraud.
Perfect. Now, as you tell your story, clearly explain the issue, the potential consequences, and your recommendations for improvement.
And how I communicated those recommendations to the client, hopefully persuading them to implement them.
Exactly. And don't forget to highlight the positive outcomes. Did your recommendations lead to improved efficiency or reduced risk?
It's all about showcasing the value I brought to the client.
Now, before we move on, let's touch on how RoleCatcher's AI can help with this type of question. It can suggest which aspects of your experience to emphasize, making sure your story really resonates.
That's so helpful. It's like having a personal guide to tailor my answers.
You got it. Okay, ready for the next question.
Bring it on. I'm getting the hang of this.
All right, let's talk about confidentiality. How do you ensure that you maintain confidentiality during a financial audit?
Confidentiality is crucial, especially when you're dealing with sensitive financial information.
They're assessing your understanding of ethical obligations and your ability to handle confidential data responsibly.
What are some key points I should hit when answering this?
Well, first and foremost, emphasize your awareness of those legal and ethical obligations.
I can mention specific regulations, like the AICPA Code of Professional Conduct, right?
Yes, that's a good one. And talk about practical steps you take. Strong passwords, secure storage of data, being discreet when discussing client matters.
And if I've signed confidentiality agreements in the past, I can mention those too.
Absolutely. It reinforces your commitment to confidentiality. You could even share a quick anecdote about a time when you had to protect client information.
It's all about showing them I take confidentiality seriously.
Okay, ready for the next challenge.
To me with it. Let's see what you've got.
All right, this one focuses on those time management skills. How do you manage competing priorities and deadlines during a financial audit?
Time management is essential. Audits can be incredibly fast-paced, so staying organized is key.
They want to see how you prioritize tasks, handle pressure, and meet those deadlines without compromising quality.
So how do I show them I'm a master of time management?
Start by outlining your process for prioritizing tasks. Do you use a specific system? Do you break down large projects?
I could mention tools like project management software, calendars, to-do lists.
And highlight your ability to adapt to changing priorities and unexpected deadlines.
I'd even share an example of a time when I had to adjust my approach to meet a tight deadline.
It's all about showcasing your flexibility and ability to handle those inevitable curveballs.
All right, bring on the next one. I'm feeling ready for anything.
Okay, this one dives back into those auditing procedures. What steps do you take to ensure the accuracy and completeness of financial data during an audit?
This is like the heart of a financial auditor's role, right?
Yeah.
Accuracy and completeness are crucial.
Absolutely. They're assessing your attention to detail, your understanding of procedures, your commitment to quality.
So what's the secret sauce for a great answer?
Well, start by describing those fundamental auditing procedures. Vouching, tracing, confirmation, those are your bread and butter.
And I can mention specific analytical techniques I use, like comparing current year data to prior years or looking for trends.
Don't forget to emphasize the importance of documentation. A clear audit trail is crucial.
And of course, professional skepticism. It's all about maintaining that questioning mind.
And collaboration with the client. It's about working together to ensure the accuracy and completeness of that data.
It's about being a team player and a thorough auditor.
And speaking of teamwork, remember how RoleCatcher's AI can help here? It can analyze the job description and suggest specific skills to emphasize.
Right, like having a personal guide to help me tailor my answers.
Okay, ready for another one. This one might require some careful handling.
Hit me with it. I'm not afraid of a challenge.
Can you describe a time when you had to deal with a difficult or uncooperative client during an audit?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Clients aren't always easy to work with, but maintaining professionalism is essential.
They want to assess your interpersonal skills, your conflict resolution abilities, and your composure under pressure.
So how do I choose the right story for this question?
Think about a time when you faced resistance from a client. Maybe they were reluctant to provide information or questioned your findings.
For example, a client who was unhappy with my assessment of their internal controls.
Exactly. Now, focus on how you approached the client. Did you listen to their concerns? Did you explain your findings clearly and respectfully?
And most importantly, how did I handle the situation while staying professional and composed?
It's all about demonstrating your ability to navigate difficult client interactions without compromising the integrity of the audit.
I think this question highlights the importance of those soft skills: communication, diplomacy, and conflict resolution.
They're just as crucial as technical expertise in this profession.
Okay, bring on the next challenge. I'm ready for it.
All right, this one focuses on professional development again. How do you stay up to date with the latest changes in accounting and auditing standards?
Staying current is so important in this field. New standards, regulations, it's a lot to keep up with.
They're looking for your commitment to lifelong learning and your proactive approach to staying informed.
So what's the key to a great answer here?
Mention specific resources you use. Professional journals, webinars, conferences, online databases.
I could talk about subscribing to the CPA Journal, attending AICPA conferences, and using the FASB website to stay updated on pronouncements.
Perfect. And if you can, share examples of recent changes you've learned about. Show them you're actively engaged with those developments.
I could even mention my commitment to continuing professional education courses.
It all demonstrates your dedication to staying at the forefront of the profession.
Okay, feeling knowledgeable and ready for more. What's next?
Can you walk me through your process for analyzing financial statements during an audit?
Financial statement analysis, the bread and butter of auditing. It's how we get a clear picture of the client's financial health.
They want to see your analytical skills, your ability to identify trends, and draw meaningful conclusions from the data.
So what are some key steps I should highlight in my process?
First, emphasize understanding the client's industry and business model. That context is crucial for interpreting the numbers.
I can also talk about specific ratios I calculate, like liquidity, profitability, and solvency ratios.
And don't forget to mention how you look for trends over time and compare the client's data to industry benchmarks.
It's about connecting the dots and drawing insights from the data.
And don't forget, your analysis should inform your audit approach. Your findings might guide you to focus on specific areas.
RoleCatcher's AI can be really helpful here too, right? Suggesting which skills to emphasize based on the job description.
Exactly. Okay, ready for another teamwork question?
Let's do it. I'm all about teamwork.
How do you handle disagreements or conflicts with other team members during an audit?
Conflicts are bound to happen, especially in a high-pressure environment like auditing.
They're looking at your conflict resolution skills, your communication style, and your ability to maintain a positive team dynamic.
So how do I show them I'm a team player who can handle disagreements effectively?
Emphasize open and respectful communication, active listening, seeking to understand different perspectives.
I can also mention specific techniques, like asking clarifying questions, summarizing viewpoints, or finding common ground.
And don't be afraid to talk about compromise. It's important to be assertive, but also flexible.
And if I've ever had to escalate a conflict, I can share an anecdote about how I handled it professionally.
It's about showing you can navigate those tricky situations while maintaining a positive team environment.
Okay, feeling prepared to handle those team dynamics. What's next?
This one focuses on a key auditing concept. Can you explain the concept of materiality in auditing and provide an example?
Materiality. It's about determining what's significant enough to warrant attention, right?
Exactly. This question tests your understanding of a fundamental principle and your ability to apply it in a real-world situation.
So how do I explain this concept in a way that's clear and easy to understand?
Start with a concise definition. Explain that it's the threshold at which information becomes significant enough to influence decisions.
And I can mention that materiality is relative, depending on factors like company size and industry.
Now, for the example, choose a scenario that illustrates how you've applied the concept of materiality.
For example, when auditing accounts receivable, I could explain how I determine the materiality threshold and focus my testing on items above that threshold.
Perfect. You could also mention considering both quantitative and qualitative factors when assessing materiality.
Right. Sometimes something might be qualitatively material, even if it's not quantitatively material.
It's all about showing you understand the nuances of this concept.
Feeling good about materiality. Ready for the last question.
All right, time for a big picture question. What are some of the biggest challenges facing the auditing profession today?
This one's about showcasing my industry awareness and my ability to think critically about the future of auditing.
They want to see that you're not just focused on the day-to-day tasks, but thinking about the bigger picture.
So what are some key challenges I should mention?
The increasing complexity of financial reporting, the rapid evolution of technology, the growing importance of cybersecurity.
Those are some big challenges.
Yeah.
How do I even begin to talk about how they might evolve in the future?
Think about the questions those trends raise. Will technology continue to disrupt the profession? Will new regulations emerge?
It's about looking ahead and anticipating those changes and showing that I'm committed to adapting and staying ahead of the curve.
Exactly. It's a chance to show your passion for the profession and your willingness to embrace the future.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our financial auditor interview prep.
And we've only just begun. There's still so much more to explore.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve into some valuable career insights from RoleCatcher.
Welcome back. Ready to uncover some more interview gems?
Absolutely. I'm eager to learn more about what it takes to land that dream financial auditor role. What's on the agenda for today?
Well, I thought we could dive into some valuable career insights from RoleCatcher's Career Guide.
I love those career guides. They're packed with so much useful information.
They really are. So one thing that really stood out to me was the importance of certifications.
Ah, yes, those certifications. They can be a bit overwhelming, especially when you're first starting out. There are so many acronyms: CPA, CIA, CSIs.
It can definitely feel like alphabet soup. But those certifications really matter in this field. They're a way to signal your expertise and differentiate yourself in a competitive job market.
So it's not just about having the knowledge, it's about having those credentials to back it up.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher's Guide provides a really helpful breakdown of each certification. It explains the requirements, the benefits, and how they might impact your earning potential.
That's super useful. I know the CPA is kind of the gold standard in public accounting, but what about those other certifications? When would they be more relevant?
Well, if you're interested in internal auditing, the CIA is highly valued. And if you're more into IT security and auditing those systems, the CISA might be the way to go.
So it's all about choosing the certifications that align with your specific career goals. Makes sense.
Exactly. It's about investing in your professional development and showcasing your commitment to specific areas of expertise.
This career guide is like a treasure trove of information. What else did you uncover in your deep dive?
Well, I found their section on career progression to be really insightful. They actually outline a typical career path for a financial auditor.
So it's not just about staying in the same role forever. There's a clear trajectory for growth and advancement.
Precisely. You could start as a staff auditor, work your way up to senior auditor, then maybe manager, senior manager, and even director.
It's inspiring to see that upward mobility. It shows that there's room for growth and development throughout your career.
Absolutely, and the guide even provides detailed profiles of people at different stages of their careers, giving you a glimpse into what those roles actually entail.
I love that. It helps you envision yourself in those different roles and see where your career could take you.
It's about connecting with the human side of the profession and seeing those real-life examples.
Okay, feeling inspired and ready to tackle some more interview questions. We left off at question 10 in the last part. What's up next?
All right, let's see. Here's one that focuses on problem solving. Can you describe a time when you had to provide recommendations for improvement during a financial audit?
Okay, this is a chance to showcase those analytical skills and demonstrate that I'm not just finding problems, I'm offering solutions.
Exactly. They want to see that you can go beyond identifying issues and actually provide actionable recommendations.
So what's the key to choosing a strong story for this question? What kind of example would really impress them?
Well, think about a time when you went above and beyond. Maybe you spotted a weakness in the client's internal controls that they hadn't noticed, or a process that was inefficient and costing them money.
So, for example, I could talk about a time when I noticed a client wasn't properly reconciling their bank statements, which could have increased their risk of errors.
That's a great example. Now, remember to clearly explain the issue, the potential consequences for the client, and the specific recommendations you provided. And if there are any challenges in implementing your recommendations, talk about how you overcame those obstacles.
So it's about showcasing my problem-solving skills, communication skills, and ability to implement change. It's about being a valuable asset to the client.
Exactly. And don't forget to highlight the positive outcome. Did your recommendations lead to improved efficiency or reduced risk?
It's about showing them the tangible value I brought to the table. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Storytelling is so important in these interviews.
It really is. And RoleCatcher's AI can be incredibly helpful with this. It can analyze the job description and suggest which aspects of your experience to emphasize, ensuring that your story resonates with the specific hiring manager.
Right, it's about tailoring those stories to the specific role. Makes sense. What's the next question on our list?
Okay, let's revisit the topic of confidentiality. How do you ensure that you maintain confidentiality during a financial audit?
Confidentiality is so crucial in this field. We're dealing with sensitive financial information, and maintaining trust with our clients is paramount. It's not something to take lightly.
Absolutely. They're asking this question to gauge your understanding of ethical principles, your commitment to professional standards, and your ability to handle sensitive data with the utmost care.
So it's about demonstrating that I'm someone they can trust. What are some key points I should emphasize in my answer?
We'll start by showcasing your awareness of the legal and ethical obligations surrounding confidentiality. You can mention specific regulations or codes of conduct that you adhere to.
Like the AICPA Code of Professional Conduct, for example.
Exactly. And talk about practical steps you take to ensure confidentiality, such as using strong passwords, encrypting sensitive data, and being mindful of your surroundings when discussing client information.
It's about being vigilant and proactive, making sure confidentiality is always top of mind.
And if you've signed confidentiality agreements in the past, mentioning those can also reinforce your commitment. You could even share a brief anecdote about a time when you had to decline a request for information to protect client confidentiality.
That's a great idea. It shows that you're willing to uphold those standards even when it's tough. Okay, ready for the next challenge.
All right, let's tackle another important aspect of this role: time management. How do you manage competing priorities and deadlines during a financial audit?
Ooh, time management. That's a constant juggling act in this profession. Audits can be so fast-paced and demanding. Staying organized is essential.
You got it. They're assessing your organizational skills, your ability to prioritize, and your capacity to handle pressure effectively.
So how do I convince them that I'm a time management master?
Start by outlining your process for prioritizing tasks. Do you use a specific method? Do you break down projects into smaller steps?
I could also mention tools like project management software, calendars, or to-do list. And I think it's important to emphasize my flexibility and ability to adapt to changing priorities.
Absolutely. Things rarely go exactly according to plan, so being able to adjust is crucial. And how about your communication style when working on a team? Do you regularly check in with teammates to ensure everyone's on track? Do you communicate any potential delays?
It's all about being proactive and keeping those communication channels open. And if I've ever had to adjust my approach to meet a tight deadline, I could share an anecdote about how I handled that.
That's a great way to showcase your ability to adapt and overcome those unexpected challenges.
Feeling ready to tackle those time management hurdles. What's next?
Let's get back to the core of auditing. What steps do you take to ensure the accuracy and completeness of financial data during an audit?
This question goes right to the heart of what we do. Accuracy and completeness are paramount.
They want to see your attention to detail, your understanding of those essential auditing procedures, and your commitment to producing high-quality work.
So how do I demonstrate that I'm an accuracy and completeness champion?
Well, start by describing those fundamental auditing procedures: vouching, tracing, confirmation. Explain how you use these techniques to verify the accuracy of transactions and account balances.
I could also mention specific analytical techniques I use to identify potential errors, like comparing current year data to prior years or looking for any unusual trends.
And don't forget to talk about how you document your work meticulously. That clear audit trail is essential for ensuring the quality and transparency of your work.
Right, it's all about creating that comprehensive record of our procedures and findings. And I can't forget to mention the importance of professional skepticism. It's about maintaining that questioning mind throughout the audit, making sure nothing is overlooked.
Absolutely. That skeptical mindset is crucial for any auditor. And don't forget to emphasize the importance of collaboration with the client. It's about working together to obtain the necessary documentation, clarifies any discrepancies, and ensure that everyone is on the same page.
Building those strong working relationships is essential for ensuring the accuracy and completeness of the data. It's a team effort.
And speaking of teamwork, let's not forget how RoleCatcher's AI can be a valuable partner in your interview prep. It can analyze the job description and suggest specific skills or experiences to highlight, ensuring that your answers are tailored to each opportunity.
Right, it's like having a personalized interview coach in my pocket. And of course, I can always use their video practice feature to rehearse my answers and get feedback on my delivery.
Those tools can make a huge difference in helping you present your best self. Okay, ready for another challenging question?
Bring it on. I'm starting to feel invincible.
All right, here's one that might require some careful navigation. Can you describe a time when you had to deal with a difficult or uncooperative client during an audit?
Ooh, this one is tricky. Not every client interaction is smooth sailing. Sometimes we encounter resistance, and it's important to handle those situations professionally and gracefully.
Absolutely. They're asking this question to assess your interpersonal skills, your conflict resolution abilities, and your ability to maintain composure under pressure. It's a test of your diplomacy and professionalism.
So how do I choose a compelling story that showcases my ability to navigate those tricky client interactions?
Think about a time when you faced resistance from a client. Maybe they were reluctant to provide information or questioned your findings. And choose an example where you successfully navigated the situation and maintained a positive working relationship.
For example, I could talk about a time when a client was unhappy with my assessment of their internal controls and tried to downplay the significance of the issues I had identified. That could definitely create some tension.
That's a great example. Now, when describing the situation, focus on how you approach the client with empathy and understanding. Did you actively listen to their concerns? Did you acknowledge their perspective? Did you explain your professional opinion clearly and respectfully?
It's about finding that balance between being assertive and diplomatic. I need to stand my ground while also maintaining a professional and respectful demeanor.
Exactly. And it's crucial to highlight how you used evidence and data to support your findings and recommendations. Don't just tell them what you think. Show them why you think it, using facts and data to back up your assertions.
And what about those relationship building aspects? Did I use any strategies to connect with the client and find common ground? Did I focus on shared goals or highlight the benefits of addressing the issues?
Those are excellent points to include. It's about showing that you can turn a potentially adversarial situation into a collaborative one. And of course, you should always describe the outcome. Did the client eventually come around to your point of view? Were you able to reach a solution that worked for everyone?
It's about demonstrating my ability to handle those difficult conversations constructively and professionally, always with a focus on finding a positive resolution.
Exactly. This question really highlights how those soft skills are just as important as technical knowledge in the field of auditing.
They're essential for building trust, navigating conflict, and ultimately succeeding in this profession.
And speaking of essential skills, let's not forget about the role RoleCatcher's AI can play in helping you prepare for these types of behavioral interview questions.
Right, it can help us analyze the job description and tailor our answers to highlight those specific soft skills that the hiring manager is looking for.
Exactly. And their video practice feature can be incredibly helpful for rehearsing those difficult conversations and getting feedback on your delivery. It's like having a virtual coach to help you fine-tune your approach.
Okay, feeling prepared to tackle those challenging client interactions. What's next on our list?
All right, let's shift gears back to professional development. How do you stay up to date with the latest changes in accounting and auditing standards?
This is a question that should resonate with anyone working in finance. The industry is constantly evolving, and it can feel like a never-ending race to stay ahead of the curve.
That's why they asked this question. They want to see your commitment to professional development, your proactive approach to learning, and your awareness that this field is always changing.
So it's not just about knowing the current standards, it's about demonstrating that I'm a lifelong learner who's always seeking to expand my knowledge.
Exactly. When answering this question, focus on the specific resources you use to stay updated. Do you subscribe to any professional journals? Do you attend industry conferences or webinars? Do you engage in online forums or follow thought leaders in the field?
I can talk about the specific journals I subscribe to, like the CPA Journal, and the conferences I attend, like the AICPA's annual conference. And I can mention online resources I use, like the FASB's website for pronouncements and the PCAB's website for auditing standards.
Excellent. Those are all great examples. And if you can, share specific examples of recent changes you've learned about, like a new accounting standard or an updated auditing pronouncement.
It's about showcasing that I'm actively engaging with those developments and staying ahead of the game. And of course, I can highlight my commitment to continuing professional education. Those CPE credits are essential.
Absolutely. CPE is a cornerstone of professional development in accounting and auditing. It's about making sure that your skills and knowledge remain current and relevant.
Okay, I'm feeling confident and ready to impress them with my commitment to lifelong learning. What's the next question?
All right, let's put those analytical skills to the test again. Can you walk me through your process for analyzing financial statements during an audit?
Financial statement analysis. It's like the detective work of auditing. We're searching for clues, looking for patterns, trying to understand the story those numbers are telling us. It's all about getting a clear picture of the client's financial health and identifying those potential areas of risk.
You got it. This question is all about demonstrating your ability to think critically, to identify those trends, and to draw meaningful conclusions from the data. It's about showing them that you're not just crunching numbers, you're using those numbers to tell a story and make informed judgments.
So how do I walk them through my process in a way that highlights those analytical skills?
First and foremost, Emphasize the importance of understanding the client's industry and business model. You wouldn't analyze the financials of a tech startup the same way you'd analyze the financials of a traditional manufacturing company, right?
Right. Different industries have different norms and nuances. It's about understanding the context behind the numbers.
Exactly. So once you've established that context, talk about the specific ratios and metrics you calculate. Things like liquidity ratios, profitability ratios, and solvency ratios can provide valuable insights into the client's financial health.
And I can also talk about how I look for trends over time. Comparing current year data to prior year data can reveal a lot about the company's performance and trajectory. And comparing their data to industry benchmarks can help identify any red flags.
Excellent points. You could also mention any tools or software you use to perform your analysis, like Excel or specialized financial analysis programs.
And I can't forget to emphasize how my analysis directly informs my audit procedures. If I see something unusual in the financials that might lead me to focus on a particular area or transaction during the audit, it's about connecting the dots and showing how my analytical insights guide my approach.
Exactly. It's about demonstrating that you're not just mechanically applying procedures, you're using your analytical skills to make informed decisions throughout the audit process.
And speaking of informed decisions, let's not forget about how RoleCatcher's AI can help with this type of question. It can analyze the job description and suggest specific skills or experiences to emphasize, making sure your answer aligns with what the hiring manager is looking for.
It's like having a personal interview strategist helping you craft the perfect response.
Okay, feeling confident and ready for the next challenge. What do you have for me?
All right, let's explore another question that focuses on teamwork. How do you handle disagreements or conflicts with other team members during an audit?
The conflict question. Working in a team environment can be challenging, and disagreements are bound to happen. It's important to show that I can handle those situations maturely and professionally.
Absolutely. They're asking this question to assess your interpersonal skills, your communication style, and your ability to resolve conflict effectively.
So how do I demonstrate that I'm a team player who can handle conflict constructively?
Start by emphasizing the importance of open and respectful communication. Do you actively listen to other team members' perspectives, even if you don't agree? Do you try to understand their point of view and find common ground?
I can also mention specific techniques I use, like asking clarifying questions, summarizing different viewpoints, or brainstorming potential solutions together. It's about creating that collaborative environment where everyone feels heard and respected.
Excellent points. And don't be afraid to talk about your willingness to compromise when appropriate. It's important to be assertive, but also flexible and open to finding solutions that work for everyone.
And if I've ever had to escalate a conflict to a manager, I can share a brief anecdote about how I handled that situation professionally.
That's a great way to demonstrate that you understand the importance of seeking guidance when needed. It's all about showing that you can be a valuable contributor to a team, even when disagreements arise.
Okay, feeling prepared to navigate those team dynamics. What's next?
Let's dive back into those core auditing concepts with a question about materiality. Can you explain the concept of materiality in auditing and provide an example of how it's applied in practice?
Materiality. It's a fundamental concept in auditing, but it can be a bit tricky to explain concisely.
You're right, it's one of those concepts that every auditor needs to grasp, but it can be a bit abstract. It's essentially about figuring out what's significant enough to warrant our attention during an audit. We can't sweat every tiny detail, so where do we draw the line?
Right, we have to prioritize our efforts and focus on the things that really matter.
Exactly, and that's what materiality is all about. This question is designed to test your understanding of this crucial principle and your ability to apply it in those real-world scenarios.
So how can I explain this concept in a way that's clear and easy to understand? I don't want to get lost in technical jargon.
Start with a straightforward definition. Materiality is the threshold at which information becomes significant enough to potentially influence the decisions of the users of the financial statements. We're talking about the information that could sway someone's opinion about the company's financial health, the big picture stuff.
And it's important to note that materiality isn't one size fits all, right? It's relative and depends on the size and nature of the company being audited. What might be material for a massive corporation could be quite different for a small business.
Absolutely. It's all about applying context and using your professional judgment to determine what's truly significant. Now, when you provide an example, choose a scenario that illustrates how you've applied materiality in your previous audits.
Okay, so for example, I could talk about a time when I was auditing a company's accounts receivable. I could explain how I determined the materiality threshold for that account, and then focus my testing on transactions or balances that exceeded that threshold.
Perfect. That's a great example. And you can also mention how you consider both quantitative and qualitative factors when assessing materiality.
Right, it's not just about the numbers. Sometimes an issue might be qualitatively material, even if it's not quantitatively material. For example, if I uncovered a potential instance of fraud, even if the amount involved was relatively small, that would still be considered material because of the nature of the issue.
Exactly. It shows that you understand the nuances of materiality and that you can apply judgment and critical thinking in real-world situations. It's about being a savvy auditor, not just a number cruncher.
It's about seeing the forest in the trees. Okay, feeling good about materiality, what's the last question we'll tackle in this part of our deep dive?
All right, let's wrap things up with a big picture question that really gets you thinking about the future of the profession. What are some of the biggest challenges facing the auditing profession today, and how do you see those challenges evolving in the future?
This is a great question to end on. It allows me to showcase my knowledge of industry trends, my ability to think critically about those challenges, and my willingness to embrace change and adapt to a dynamic environment.
Exactly. It's about demonstrating that you're not just focused on the day-to-day tasks of auditing, but that you're also thinking about the bigger picture and the long-term trends that are shaping the profession.
So what are some of the key challenges that I should mention? What are the big things that are keeping auditors up at night?
Well, there are many. We're living in a time of unprecedented change, and the auditing profession is no exception. The increasing complexity of financial reporting, driven by globalization, new accounting standards, and the rise of intangible assets, is a major challenge. And then there's the rapid evolution of technology, things like data analytics, artificial intelligence, and blockchain. These technologies are transforming the way audits are conducted, and auditors need to adapt quickly to stay relevant. And let's not forget about the increasing focus on cybersecurity and data privacy, which adds another layer of complexity to our work.
It sounds like the auditing profession is standing at a crossroads, having to navigate all these disruptions and uncertainties.
That's a great way to put it. So when you're answering this question, think about the questions those trends raise. Will the pace of technological change continue to accelerate, requiring auditors to constantly upskill and adapt? Will new regulations emerge to address these emerging risks? Will the demand for specialized audit skills continue to grow? It's about connecting the dots and anticipating what the future might hold.
It's about showing that I'm not just an auditor. I'm a forward-thinking professional who's engaged with the bigger picture and eager to embrace change and innovation.
Exactly. This question is an opportunity to show your passion for the profession and your commitment to staying ahead of the curve.
And of course, I can't forget to mention how RoleCatcher's AI can help me prepare for this type of question. It can analyze the company's website, recent news articles, and even their social media presence to help me understand their perspective on those challenges.
It's like having a research assistant working behind the scenes, helping you tailor your answer to the specific company and role.
And their video practice feature can help me practice my response and get feedback on my delivery, making sure I'm conveying that message of confidence and expertise. Okay, feeling prepared to tackle that big picture question.
Awesome. That wraps up part 2 of our deep dive into financial auditor interview prep.
We've explored those career paths, uncovered those valuable insights from RoleCatcher's career guide, and tackled even more challenging interview questions.
I'm feeling confident that our listeners are well on their way to acing those interviews.
And we're back for the final part of our financial auditor deep dive, ready to put all our newfound knowledge into action.
Absolutely. We've covered so much ground from those tricky interview questions to career insights. It's been quite a journey.
But before we send you off to conquer those interviews, I want to circle back to RoleCatcher's AI platform. It's like having a secret weapon in your job search arsenal.
It really is, and I think a lot of people overlook how crucial it is to tailor your applications to each specific opportunity.
Exactly. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Yeah.
And that's where RoleCatcher's AI comes in. It can analyze job descriptions to really help you fine-tune your CV or resume.
It's like having that personal career coach, but way more affordable, right?
And don't forget their AI-powered interview practice tool. It's like having a virtual mock interview, but with personalized feedback.
It can analyze your videos and give you feedback on your delivery, even things like body language and tone of voice.
It's all about those small details that can really make a difference, especially in a competitive job market.
It's true. And you know what's even better? RoleCatcher offers a free account. You can start using their AI tools right away.
Okay, before we officially wrap up, let's revisit that thought-provoking question we posed at the beginning. The one about financial governance.
Ah, yes. Thinking about the companies you admire, what does their financial governance say about their values and long-term vision?
You know, that question has really stuck with me throughout this whole episode. It's about so much more than just ticking boxes and following rules.
Right. It really gets to the heart of integrity, transparency, and accountability.
It's about the choices companies make and whether those choices align with their stated mission and values.
And ultimately, it's about building trust.
Trust with employees, investors, customers, everyone. And I think it's a question every aspiring financial auditor should consider as they embark on their careers.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that we're not just dealing with numbers, we're dealing with people's lives and livelihoods.
So as you walk into those interviews, remember all the tips and strategies we've discussed, and remember that you're not just applying for a job, you're stepping into a role with a lot of responsibility.
It's true. You're becoming a guardian of financial integrity, a champion of transparency and ethical decision-making.
And with tools like RoleCatcher at your disposal, you'll be well equipped to navigate the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.
And that's a wrap on our Financial Auditor Interview Prep Deep Dive. I hope you found it helpful and insightful.
Remember, preparation is key, and the future of finance is in your hands. Go out there, ace those interviews, and make a difference.
And until next time, happy auditing.